Stay tuned until the end of the review to find out how you could win a free copy of today's Nintendo Switch title. Hey folks, David here from the Thirsty Mage, and I had the opportunity to play a type of game I normally wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, and that's a mobile-styled game. Call me old-fashioned, but I just don't care for an experience designed for a phone. But for every rule there's an exception, and that brings us to Gravity Rider Zero. The sequel to a mobile title originally developed by Qubic Games, Gravity Rider Zero features the gameplay of balancing a futuristic motocross bike around a track in order for the driver to make it safely across the finish line. Keeping the driver on the bike isn't always easy though. Traps and obstacles are spread throughout, and they're designed to knock the driver on their keister. The visuals are gorgeous, and feature bright colors and an aesthetic that reminds me of Tron. With its DNA coming from a mobile title, of course there's tons of unlockable customization with no shortage of different designs that can be purchased. And when I say purchased, I thankfully mean with in-game gems that can be earned by completing tracks, and not with your custom designed American Express. Different paint jobs and light trails for each of the different vehicles that are unlocked through progression means you may never have to complete 2 stages with the same looking bike. The different vehicles aren't strictly for aesthetic reasons either. Each bike has a different weight and feel to it, especially when you catch some air. Bikes are lighter and they move quicker, but hop onto a 4-wheeler or a hover bike and the weight difference is immediately felt in the rotation. Movement is pretty rudimentary though. One button sends you forward, another moves the driver back, and the steering is automatic. The joystick is used to balance the bike, so the only concern is keeping the driver upright. But if you feel like throwing caution to the wind and popping a wheelie, or showing off some air acrobatics, that's totally up to you. Just make sure that when rubber hits the road, the driver is in a position to stay on the bike. Push the driver too far though and they lose one of their hearts that are allocated for a group of tracks. It's really not that much of a concern though, because the only penalty for additional retries beyond the 3 heart is that you'll have to spend some of your hard-earned gems on a continue. So long as you haven't broken the bank by outfitting your bikes with the latest paint stylings, there's really nothing stopping progression. The amount of stages is fairly large, with 33 available to unlock, each featuring multiple tracks. The variety of what appears on the tracks does progressively increase, but many have a similar feel to them and they do start to feel repetitive, especially during long play sessions. Loops and jumps are early obstacles, but it doesn't take long for the introduction of blocks and boulders that are going to need to be driven over. Keep on going and the tracks start to feel like they're out of an 80s movie featuring James Caan, as poison pools and rotating saws begin to appear on the tracks. Replayability is certainly an issue, but a few features are available to address that. Each stage has 3 objectives available to provide additional gems upon completion, so if you do happen to miss a few, it provides the reason to go back to those stages. Upon replaying a stage, a shadow of your past self is included to provide a little extra incentive to do better. Gravity Rider Zero is a neat addition to the Nintendo eShop library, and one that provides an easygoing experience that you don't really have to think too hard about. Minimal loading times and quick respawns lead to minimal frustration upon each crash, since the penalty is really just a longer runtime. Apart from the tracks feeling a little repetitive, the easygoing motocross style racing is a whole lot of fun for short periods of time, despite its mobile roots that usually leave a bad taste in my mouth. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd potentially like to get this game for free, leave a comment below as to why you'd like to play Gravity Rider Zero and use the hashtag Switch. We'll pick a couple of users and send them a couple Switch codes for this game. Also, if you enjoyed the review, please consider subscribing to our channel. It'll help us grow and give us the opportunity to share more games and reviews from our favorite consoles.